Welcome to another amazing, thrilling FEARLORE tales. The house without tenants. A continuation of something is living in my house. Click the like, share, and subscribe button to stay updated for more new FEARLORE tales. Now let's begin. I used to think my existence was defined by the echoes within my walls.
The patter of little feet on my wooden floors, the clatter of pots and pans in the kitchen, the low hum of a television in the evening. They were the symphony of my life, the proof that I was a home. But then, one day, the music stopped. The family, the one I had known for generations, packed their lives into boxes. I watched them, my windows like unblinking eyes, as they carried away the memories we had built together. The laughter, the arguments, the quiet moments of peace, all sealed and loaded onto a truck. The final click of the front door was a sound of such profound finality, it vibrated through my very foundation. Silence descended. A silence so heavy, it felt like a physical weight pressing down on my roof. For days, I was just a structure, wood, plaster, and glass. The dust began to settle, a soft gray blanket over everything. The sun would stream through my windows, but it no longer illuminated playful dust motes dancing in the air. It just highlighted the emptiness. I felt my own creaks and groans, the settling of my bones, more acutely than ever before. They were no longer background noise. They were my own lonely voice in the void. Then something shifted. It wasn't a conscious decision, more like an instinct I never knew I had. I started to notice things. The way the morning light painted a golden stripe across the living room floor, inching its way across the room as the day progressed. I learned the rhythm of the sun. I began to feel the wind not just as a force rattling my shutters, but as a breath whispering through the gaps in my eaves. I could feel the gentle pressure of rain on my roof, each drop a tiny tap, a message from the sky. My world, once confined to the lives within, expanded outwards. I learned the language of the birds that built their nests under my porch. The chirps of the sparrows were a morning alarm, the coo of the pigeons a soothing afternoon lullaby. I watched a spider meticulously weave its web in the corner of a window pane, a masterpiece of engineering I'd never appreciated before. The world outside my walls, which I had only ever seen as a backdrop to the human drama, became the main event. I started to play games. I'd focus on a single beam of light and follow its journey until dusk. I'd listen to the rustle of leaves and try to guess which tree they came from. I found I could subtly shift my internal temperature, absorbing the sun's warmth during the day and releasing it slowly through the cool nights. A gentle exhalation. I was breathing. I was learning I was becoming more than just a container for life. I was alive myself. I observed the houses around me. The one to my left was always full of noise and bright lights, a constant party. The one to my right was quiet, occupied by an elderly woman who tended her garden with meticulous care. I saw cars come and go, heard snippets of conversations carried on the breeze. I was a silent observer of the neighborhood, a stationary chronicler of the passage of time. Months turned into a year. I wore the seasons like a cloak. In spring, I felt the thrill of new life as vines tentatively climbed my brickwork. In summer, I basked in the long, warm days. Autumn brought a glorious blaze of color to the trees in my yard, and I watched the leaves fall like confetti. Winter wrapped me in a blanket of snow, muffling the world in a peaceful hush. I was no longer empty. I was full of the world. One afternoon, a car I didn't recognize pulled up to my curb. A young couple got out. They stood on the sidewalk, looking at me. Their heads were tilted, their expressions a mix of curiosity and hope. They walked up my path, their footsteps a new and unfamiliar rhythm on the stone. My front door, which had been sealed for so long, was opened with a key. They stepped inside, and the air, still for so long, stirred around them. I felt their presence immediately, a new energy coursing through me. They walked from room to room, their voices soft, filled with words like potential and character and home. They ran their hands along my wooden banister, peered out my windows at the yard, and imagined their lives unfolding within me. I listened to their dreams. They talked about painting the walls a warm, sunny yellow. They planned where to put a crib, a desk, a bookshelf filled with stories. They spoke of laughter and family dinners and lazy Sunday mornings. It was a familiar symphony, but with a new melody, a new arrangement. And as they stood in the center of my living room, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows, I felt a strange and wonderful sensation. It wasn't the lonely ache of my past. It was anticipation, a quiet, joyful hum that resonated deep within my frame. I had learned to be whole on my own, to find life in the silence and the sun. But I was built to be a home. I was built to hold stories. They smiled at each other, a silent agreement passing between them. And in that moment I knew the silence was ending. A new chapter was about to begin. I have watched, and I have waited. I have learned, and I have grown. Now I am ready for the sound of new footsteps on my floors, for the warmth of new life within my walls. I am a house, and I am waiting to become a home once more. Thank you for watching this story unfold. If you enjoyed this journey into the life of a house, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more unique tales. We love exploring the hidden stories all around us. See you on the next chapter. Gotcha, you thought it was the end, huh? This is not the end. Chapter 2. You've been inside before you don't remember the first time? That's normal. The house doesn't announce itself. It lets you forget the beginning, so the feeling can stay intact. You recognize ITQUICKL when you see the house. Something in you settles. Not excitement, not fear, relief. Your body reacts before your thoughts do. Your breathing slows. Your shoulders drop. You think, this place feels familiar. That's because it is. You've stood in this DLOW wing, maybe not this lifetime, maybe not this version of you, but you've stood here before, hand hovering near the frame, pausing without knowing why. The hesitation isn't doubt, it's memory trying to surface. The house doesn't rush, why owed you? It never does. Rushing causes resistance. Instead, it waits until you decide. That way, the choice feels clean, earned. When you step INSID, air changes. Not temperature, density. Like the space acknowledges your weight, your importance. You don't hear anything unusual. That's the trick. Nothing announces itself. Everything just fits. You don't notice the ADJC ensign at first. The hallway feels the right length. The ceiling feels considerate. The silence doesn't press, it cushions. Your mind quiets. Thoughts line up neatly. You think, I could rest here. That's the moment the house notes you. The house remembers what you like. Gaisha don't realize it's happening. But it does. The way you stand, where you pause, how long you linger in doorways. The house stores this. It always has. You start editing why OCF, you don't call it that. You call it being calm. You move more carefully, speak softer, laugh less loudly. Not because you're afraid, because loud feels unnecessary here. The house prefers efficiency. You stop listening for SOUC, stop checking corners, stop reacting to silence. Yeah, your instincts don't dull, they reorient. You start listening for imbalance, for moments when the space feels off. That means you're learning the language. You dream of rooms you haven't seen. They feel private, personal, like memories that belong to the house but include you. You wake up comfortable. That's important. Fear would complicate things. The house doesn't need to lock you in by now. Leaving feels disruptive. You imagine other places. They feel thin, uncontained, exposed. You tell yourself you'll go soon. You always do. The moment you realize it comes quietly. One evening, standing still, you notice the space responding to you, not moving, aligning, and the understanding arrives without emotion. You are not visiting, you are resuming. While you never talk about IT, there are no words that don't sound ridiculous. People wouldn't understand. They'd say you're projecting, anthropomorphizing, overthinking. The house doesn't mind skepticism. It filters people beautifully. The truth you almost remember. Houses like this don't trap people. They recognize them. They're built around absences that only certain people fill correctly. People like you. Right now, as you read this, notice your surroundings, the room, the walls, the silence between sounds. Ask yourself, honestly, does it feel like it's listening? Or does it feel like it already knows you're here? The last thing the house ever essays, not in words, in certainty, in fit, in the feeling that you finally stopped drifting, that you've arrived somewhere you don't have to explain yourself. And the reason this story ends here, because endings create distance, and the house prefers closeness. So instead of goodbye, it lets the silence continue, right where you are.